9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Cory Reppenhagen is in Thornton for us this afternoon. And Cory, the wind yesterday not as strong as what we saw with the Marshall Fire. That's a big factor for how fire crews were able to fight it.
Yeah, exactly. It was a huge advantage here to keep this from becoming a Marshall Fire scenario. The winds out here were 30 to 50 miles per hour yesterday. That's strong, but the winds during the Marshall Fire were 60 to 80 miles per hour, and that is an extreme wind. It allowed the fire behavior to be a little different this time around, and allowed the firefighters to use a little different strategy in how they fight that fire. And just that 30 mile per hour difference allowed the Thornton Fire Department to be very aggressive with this fire. Now you can tell by the video and the pictures sent from Thornton Fire that they were using an offensive or direct approach to fight this fire, which essentially means they were fighting this fire head on. So the flames were right in front of them. The winds were blowing the flames directly at them. Now, that is obviously a more dangerous way to fight a fire, a dangerous strategy, but it's often the quickest way to keep the fire from spreading. And you can see the homes that they saved. With the winds at 30 to 50 miles per hour, they kind of made a decision with the judging the fire behavior that they could take that direct approach. If the winds were 60 plus, like during the Marshall Fire day, they may not have been able to attack this from the front. And in most cases during the Marshall Fire, we saw those firefighters flanking the fire, so coming around the back and fighting the fire with the wind at their back and the fire spreading away from them. So that was huge. And another thing that saved homes out here, the Thornton Fire Chief out here says that the open space, or what they call a green belt out here, was well mitigated.
Certainly. So one of the key components that limited fire spread into that neighborhood was both the fire response from our personnel, in addition to the work of our Parks and Recreation team to maintain that green belt and not allow vegetation to accumulate next to the fence line, and the care that residents have done to make sure that their property is secured from vegetation. That is one of the key contributing factors to vegetation fire spread.
So I think we can be really thankful that the winds were not stronger and that the Thornton Fire was able to make a very aggressive approach to this fire. Another thing that helped save homes, the winds were slightly coming out of the west-northwest, which blew the bulk of the flames away from these homes out here. But unfortunately, the same wind meant the demise for this car lot out here on the south side. Another thing, further south, there is a pre-existing fire break in a 5-lane road of 84th Avenue. If the wind's 50 mile per hour, might not have been able to cross that road, but in the extreme winds of the Marshall Fire, we saw that firewall jump the entire all lanes of the Boulder Turnpike. So certainly a lot to be thankful out here if you live in this part of Thornton.